I'm actually really upset about this trailer. Like, the more I think about it, the more angry I get. And it's for two reasons. One, I admit, is totally my own problem, and probably a problem for other Ghost in the Shell fans. And the other one is a problem for everyone, although it seems many people, well, I can understand why many people don't understand the second problem, but allow me to explain it to you before we get into the shot by shot. All right. So, and if you don't want to hear me complain about this trailer, which is totally your right, you can. There's a time down below in the video description to skip right to the shot by shot. All right. So the first thing is that I homeworked myself out of this movie, right? I always say movies shouldn't require homework, and the filmmakers here better hope that a lot of people don't look into the actual Ghost in the Shell source material, because so far it seems far superior. I said that in my reaction that this looks like Ghost in the Shell, but it doesn't seem to have the essence of Ghost in the Shell, right? And one of you in the comment section did a really good job of boiling it down. David James Stevens says it seems like RoboCop, and that's totally true. And the fact that Ghost in the Shell seems derivative of something else is a crime right there. So I think that it really behooves this film for people to go in not knowing anything about the source material, because clearly they've made major changes, and it doesn't look like they've changed it for the better. So I'm very frustrated about that. I was so happy to discover Ghost in the Shell and getting ready for this movie that I feel a little sad that the filmmakers themselves weren't as excited about the source material. It seems that they were like, I see a brand here. I see, something I can use for my own ends, instead of really, it's a little bit like my complaint with Girl on the Train. Like, why don't you respect the property you're adapting? Why aren't you excited to bring it to a wider audience and show people how great it is? Why would you gut it for your own purposes, and really just present it in name only? Now, a number of you, I'm sure, are typing, "You're such killjoy, Grace. It looks amazing," and it does look amazing, and Scarlett Johansson looks like she's doing a great job, and I would agree with that. However, let's get to the second problem, and that's the whitewashing. Now, I really defended this movie, and I have defended The Great Wall, and both of those movies are really making me regret my support of them. I would love to see the globalization of Hollywood, as in global casts, right? And they do have a diverse cast here, but it would seem that they are only there for decoration. Now, I also saw someone say, I hope the SJWs don't ruin Ghost in the Shell for everyone, right? And I've, in some of my other videos, people have complained in the comments saying, I didn't know about the whitewashing until you brought it up. It's so annoying. Why are we even talking about it? Even Japan doesn't seem that upset about it. Someone made a video interviewing people from Japan, and they were like, I'm okay with it. But here's why no one should be okay with it, right? When you have, Western people writing the film, directing the film, starring in the film, people who aren't familiar with the source material, which is the majority, start to think that this is a Western story. And, even if, like, intellectually that it's a Japanese story, it just doesn't feel like one, right? It's like it's a Western story that happens to take place in Japan, right? And so what you're really doing is you're stealing someone else's accomplishment, another culture's accomplishment. And that's why when someone asks people, like, particularly in today's very politicized, world, and, to some degree hate-filled world, someone will go up and say, like they did at the Republican convention, nobody but white people contributes to society, right? In that context, they meant in terms of building society, but you could also say, well, who comes up with all the creative stuff in society? Western civilization. Suck it, everybody else. And it's like, no, this is a wonderful, really complex, sophisticated story that was dreamed up by Japanese people and made famous by Japanese people through not only the manga but the anime, and now it's going to just become something from the West. And so you're really not, and you're doing a disservice to people and by not letting them know what's being contributed by other parts of the world. So it's very frustrating to me. I think there will be a number of people who see Ghost in the Shell and think it's just, Ghost in the Shell, that movie about that white robot lady in a futuristic Japan. Because, who doesn't want to go visit Japan someday as a tourist, right? It's like Lost in Translation. We follow Bill Murray and Scarlett Johansson again around, Tokyo. And it's well, I was, Sofia Coppola dreamed that story up, so due credit to her. But she didn't, Rupert Sanders didn't come up with this, and so I'm just frustrated. I'm very frustrated. All right, so let's get it. Let's dive into it. It's a beautiful movie. It's just so sad. Okay, all right. It really is sad. All right, do yourself a favor. Watch the original anime and be aware that this is a Japanese creation and contributed to the pop culture landscape, even though I don't know. I don't know what to say. Okay, I hope the creator of Ghost in the Shell got himself a nice check. Okay. All right, so this is cool. A lot of it looks great, and a lot of it does look like it came right from the anime. Now, people have talked about, we've seen this in the teaser, and this is, they had the geishas in the first episode of Standalone Complex Season 1, but apparently they remodeled the look for the Innocence movie recently, and this was the look. And it's very cool, and, I like it. I can see in the future, if there are going to be so many things that are robotic, sometimes you want to make it super clear what's a robotic. You don't want them to pass for human, right? Although they're going to get a lot more robotic looking in just a second. Now this is great. This is great because it's right from the manga and the anime. I don't know how I feel about these human-sized figures. Like, imagine if that was outside your window. I would think that you could complain and just be like, you know what? I got a file. What's 311 in futuristic Japan? That's the number you call here in New York City if you want to make a complaint. Although sometimes good luck getting it, resolved. But I mean, it looks kind of cool from here. But I don't know. Like, to me, I don't see the purpose in it. It's like to me, it seems like, you know what, in your face, Blade Runner, because Blade Runner had these life-size billboards. Bigger than life billboards with human figures on it. But now they're like, we're gonna have actual 3D human figures. So it just seems a little bit like design overkill. But anyway, her standing on the edge of the top of a building is like really like one of the iconic ways to see the Major. So that's very cool. So when the trailer started, I was very encouraged, all right? So there she is. She's got her trench coat on because she's going to get naked in just a second. Or as close as, they got pretty darn close, but we'll talk about that in a moment. But this visor she has on here, that's right, also right from the anime. And she looks cool. I like Scarlett Johansson. I think she's a good actress. I know some of you disagree, but I like her. I think she does a good job being a relatable character. I think for someone who does an awful lot of nudity and is very reliant on her looks, the fact that she can still be very likable to women and seem like a really cool person is really impressive. It's hard to do. So she says she's on site here. Now here you can see we've got a company dinner, it appears, and you can see this kind of like cybernetic collar on this gentleman in the front. You're going to see, you actually don't see Togusa, except I had to freeze frame this thing to find him, but he wears one of those as well. So this is some of the cybernetic enhancements that some people have. It's like that's like an external cybernetic enhancement where you're going to see a number of people have internal ones. But anyway, you can see this is a gentleman's futuristic club, as there are no women partaking here, and they're being serviced right now with food, but I imagine in different ways later by these geisha robots. As you can see, there's something wrong because she won't stop. That hand is really cool. Although, I don't know why I would want to hook a robot to look so odd. But, what, maybe, I guess this is a pretty kinky evening. So anyway, I like that, it's still, it's overflowing. And he's like, that's weird. Well, let me see this guy for a second. We'll talk about him momentarily. Okay, so anyway, you can see, I love this. Remember his face. Okay, something just came to me. I'll connect the dots for you later in this trailer. But I love the way they get this kind of like spider movement on the geisha when she pulls this guy back. That's super cool, right? Like, do you want to see how, robotic I can be? A little bit of an Aladdin reference for you there. I just think that's really neat. That's so cool. I love that. Just, really devolve into robotics. And I thought this movie was going to be more about, robots versus humans and all that, but it doesn't seem that's going to be the case. But in the Ghost in the Shell anime, that's a big part of the movie, and it's too bad that doesn't seem to be the way they're going. But anyway, as you can see, it's an ambush, and I'm going in. And I'm going in naked. Now you might be like, why does she have to go in naked? Well, the reason is that she can go into camouflage mode, but only when she just has her skin. And to have this movie be, as I think, as close to PG as possible, PG-13. No way, it's PG. PG-13 is that it's just her body parts that don't have, she's like a Barbie doll, right? Although I've never seen that well-defined a butt crack on a Barbie doll before. And so I think they're really pushing the PG-13 limits there. We'll see. The MPAA is awfully forgiving these days, awfully movie friendly. One of you actually told me you got in a lot of trouble with your mom for watching this trailer. So she's, that's what they're saying. She's like really detailed Barbie, right? So she's going down. You don't get to see her go into camo mode here though. In the anime, she just go into camo mode. So there she goes. Now that's cool. For some reason, I like the fish flying around the building. That I'm like, I'd be okay with that. And if I lived in that building, that wouldn't bother me either. I'd be like, oh, here comes the fish again. I love living in this building. Okay, so she's going down, and somehow she's going to go into the window, and she's going to do full Trinity Matrix here. She's like, I've even got the hair. Although I have to say, Scarlett Johansson, it's weird. This robot does not look at all built for physical combat, right? They're like, we're going to make kind of like a real, she doesn't look, Scarlett Johansson, while she looks nice, she doesn't look at all like an athlete, right? So I think that Carrie-Anne Moss had a little bit more of an athletic figure to her, or at least more like a model. I'm not quite sure. A little more like living art. This Scarlett Johansson very much just seems like a regular person, and you wouldn't think that a robot would seem like a regular person, at least unless the design team is like that subversive. So anyway, here she comes, right in here, and she's gonna run up the wall. That's pretty cool. I like her running up the wall. I like I don't know why she's designed to wear knee highs. That's an odd choice. So I think that's pretty cool. So she goes up here. I also like that her holster is built into her leg. That's awesome. So I have to say, I think Scarlett Johansson, she can do I think she's better at doing the nudity than she is the action. I think she doesn't quite sell the action as well as I would like. She's hitting her marks, but I don't totally buy it, to be perfectly honest with you. All right, so there we go in slow motion. Slow motion is not Scarlett Johansson's friend because, again, as I said, she's not great in the action, which is weird. I guess she's better at the spy stuff as Black Widow than the action, or her stunt double is very good. So anyway, this is Hanka Robotics. Now, Hanka Robotics is from the Ghost in the Shell anime, but when I was trying to figure out what the heck was going on in this trailer before I did the shot-by-shot, I saw a disturbing rumor that Hanka is actually going to be not only the organization that builds the Major and puts the cybernetics into all of her Section 9 cohorts, but that Section 9 in this movie will no longer be a government agency, but will work for the Hanka Corporation, which I don't understand why the Hanka Corporation has its own police force and how they're allowed to operate, and I'm just kind of annoyed about that change because it seems totally unnecessary to me. It's so annoying. Okay, so anyway, here we are at Hanka Robotics, and she's being repaired. That's a cool shot, and as you can see, the different portions of her, you can see these are the lines that they have when she's running around naked. They're easily removable plates, so she can be repaired. All right, so she's being repaired. I don't know why they wouldn't put her in sleep mode for this. Like, we just like to freak you out. We don't feel our robot has enough problems, questioning their humanity. Let's leave her on while we take her apart. I'd be like, well, at least distract her with some television like they do with kids in the back of a car. All right, so anyway, here's Juliette Binoche as the scientist who works on her. And I have to say, I'm kind of annoyed that this isn't an Asian actress, right? Like, there are roles where you're like, come on, you could cast an Asian person in this role. This is ridiculous. Like, there's no reason that they're like, you know what, I think Hanka Corporation has a French white scientist. You're like, you're killing me, Ghost in the Shell movie. Come on. All right. There's so many roles here. I see one Asian person spotlighted in this trailer, and it's an Asian property. And I see so many opportunities for that not to be the case. All right. I like her line, though, like, maybe next time you'll give me a better upgrade. I think that's a pretty good line. I like that. And I think Scarlett Johansson delivers it very well, like in some creepy robot way. Like, I say nice, but I'll rip your frickin' head off if I don't like what you say, because I have the ability to do it, because I'm a robot. So I thought that's pretty good. All right, so DreamWorks. Not the good one. This is live-action DreamWorks that has a very poor track record, and it scares me now that I'm seeing this trailer. All right, in full. So here she is in her apartment, living alone. Single ladies even in the future. She's like, I'm a single career woman. All right, so anyway, I was a little disappointed with this. You see this woman behind her? I kind of wish that was Scarlett Johansson, like another version of her, because she's supposed to be a popular version from Hanka Robotics that a lot of people purchase, which allows her to, as we've discussed, to blend in more, right? Not like, that's that famous Major from Section 9. Like, you don't know. And that woman has the exact same haircut, although I'm loath to take a role away from an Asian actress. But still, I think that would have been cool. I don't know why those letters turn into people walking around. I don't know. Some of this just seems like, visual effects barf instead of having a practical application. All right, so she's walking through the street. More fish. I do love me some fish. Here's the hooker she's going to hook up with later. That's a cool hooker outfit, I got to admit. That hooker has amazing style. I like the way, I have to admit, like, this outfit is risque while still being tasteful. So I think that's pretty cool. Apparently there's I don't know if that face mask is, they wear a lot of face masks in Asia, which is an interesting, parallel, right? There's still a pollution problem in the future. Although, again, why didn't you cast an Asian actress? I guess this isn't a white person, so that's a plus. There's some kind of futuristic ATM. I don't know what's going on over there. That's cool. All right. Let's see. Now this is neat. This is actually a multi-level graveyard. I think that's a cool idea, right? And so she's obviously visiting some kind of grave. So I like that. I think this idea of an urban grave, and I don't know why it has to be elevated. That seems like an odd choice for me because they don't seem to be saving or, making better use of the space in any way. But it's a darn cool visual. It also reminds me a lot of UK government housing, but here they've just made it into graves, which is kind of like a pretty biting commentary on UK government housing. I don't know if this movie is that sophisticated, though. I hope it is. All right. So she's like, I don't know about my past. I'm all, as David James Stevens said, she's got a robocopy, right? And I have to say, the Major sometimes had like moments where she felt bad, but she never went like this. I don't know. I have mixed feelings on what they're doing to the Major. So this was interesting to me. Look, there's like a billboard here for religion, and then here's a billboard for medicine. I was like, oh, that's weird, but I don't know how either one of these things promotes them. But I thought that was at least an interesting way to go with these life-size billboards. Which again, I don't see anything being advertised here. I guess there's some recognition in what they're wearing or something. So I don't know. Maybe that guy's like, I'm going to turn this little girl into a robot. All right. Now here, obviously, she's decided to go back to visit that hooker and see what's going on. And this is from the anime that Motoko, the Major, is at the very least bisexual. Now, and also, I think part of that idea is that she doesn't have to choose a female body type, right? She could choose any kind of, actual body to be in. And there's actually some discussion of that in the anime. And so that's kind of interesting. The longer she's a ghost, just her brainwaves are really not anchored to any particular body. Would you lose something like gender identity? I think that's an interesting idea. And again, I hope this movie explores it not in a way to be titillating and be like, oh, kinky, but is like, oh no, this is a genuine question. If you didn't have a body, would you still associate with a gender? Probably when you first go into, become bodiless, you would still associate with your original gender. But after decades, would you lose that? I don't know. I think it's an interesting idea. But again, I hope it's explored tastefully and intellectually. Now there's more Henka, and there they are. They're like, this is when they're like, we saved you and put you in this robot body. That's right from the anime. And again, Scarlett Johansson, no problem with the nudity. I hope she does a good job with the action. There you see the camo effect from the teaser that we saw before. Now that's very cool. Again, I don't know why she's got... And the knee highs are from the anime, but it seems like an odd choice, right? I guess it's like, Japanese people love schoolgirls. That's a big part of pop culture over there. So let's build it into a robot. But I do love that her gun holster, again, it's like just plugs right into her body. I would love for her to have different things she could plug in for what she's doing, right? Just like add-ons that you can do with the things today, right? She's like, oh, I'll put in this is a cup holder for when I'm on watching TV. That'd be hilarious. All right, so anyway, that's a pretty cool look. At least Scarlett Johansson does a very good job here at striking a pose. I think she looks cool. And again, you can see it's like Barbie version, right? They're like, no, she's not naked. I'm like, she looks pretty naked, man. All right. There again. More of these really, really weird billboards that seem to serve no purpose. Okay. I would love it if they were maybe public works of art. That would be cool. Maybe they'll establish it that way. That airliner one is an ad, but that would be a cool idea. All right. Now you can see here he's got his robot eyes, Batu, and one of my favorite shots is actually when we see them being installed. Although we'll talk about why that annoys me too. But anyway, here they are. They're driving. They're like, oh, future car. Now I don't know what happens here. I don't know how this this like piece of metal, you can see it has bullet holes in it, is able to be yanked into this person's hand. And I'm not sure who that is. That would imply maybe robotics in the individual's hand, because they can rip off the metal if they want by turning on their magnetism. That would be a cool idea. There's cool stuff in here. I just have a big problem with the thematics and the plundering of anime, and Japanese cultural achievement. All right, so anyway, here you can see that's the guy who was, I told you to remember his face. That's the guy who we just saw, being captured by the geisha robots. So this is a debriefing back at Section 9. This is your only shot of Section 9 in the trailer, which infuriates me, because Section 9 and the workings of Section 9 and the different people who work for Section 9 is a really big part of Ghost in the Shell. But anyway, there's the Major, there's Batu in the back. I don't know who this woman is. That is Sato, their sharpshooter. He's played by an Asian actor right behind this head here. And as they walk in, I can see Togusa right there. Right there. There's Togusa. I guess maybe Togusa has been changed to be briefing them, maybe, or just works in the situation room and doesn't go into the field. I don't know. It's really upsetting. Okay, so maybe he works for the robotics company that runs them. Oh, and also this looks interesting. This looks like the floor plan for maybe the geisha house. That would be very cool. Maybe they're running them through the mission, or this is after the mission to discuss what happened. So that's very much what Ghost in the Shell is supposed to be. All right. And again, the guy who gets kidnapped by the geishas, why couldn't he be played by an Asian actor? It's just very frustrating. All right, so here, I love this shot. This is an amazing shot. This is Batu getting his eyes. I hope it's a flashback, because the whole point in Ghost in the Shell is that those are special and usually done just for Marines. So he's ex-military, special military, special forces. So that's one of the things that you can tell just by looking at him that he's from the military, because that's like a unique upgrade to that division. So I would hate to see that it was just something that they decided, yeah, you want some robot eyes, Batu? And he's like, sure, I got nothing else to do right now. Let's do it. But they look cool. It's a very cool visual. I love the light on the face and how he's looking less and less human. I think that's really cool. And you can see how he's had this arm grafted on him, and he also has the plates, just like the Major does, Scarlett Johansson's character. Batu is supposed to have, mechanical arms and eyes. So that's very, and you can see all the scars on him, but it's not so much from, maybe not just battle scars, but also to some degree, he's fighting with his humanity. Oh, I see how good Ghost in the Shell can be. Oh, okay. All right. Now, this is them talking on a boat. Now, that's right from the 1995 movie. The Major likes to go swimming. She likes to see how far she can go, because, she's kind of like, it's like being out in the cyber world, right? You're just like kind of floating in the abyss. So she goes down there. She likes to see how far she can go. And Batu, and it's funny, in the anime, Batu has a major crush on the Major. And he's like, why else do you think I'm on this stupid boat with you in the middle of nowhere in the middle of the night? Of course I like you. Stop playing with me, okay? But he's like, but I love you so much, I'm not going to leave, even though you're kind of being insensitive. So anyway, they have a discussion about, they have a really philosophical discussion in the anime. I wonder what it'll be here. So anyway, he's like saying, do you trust me? Now that's a great shot, but you can see here he doesn't have his eyes, so that makes me feel like he's going to get them during the course of the film, which again, I have a problem with. I like the coat action. A lot of stuff borrowed from the Matrix here a little bit. Batu does not wear a trench coat, as I can recall in the anime, but that looks cool. Now you can see, let's see, who's he fighting with? Oh yay, an Asian actor got some work in this Asian property. Okay. So good billing for her. That's pretty cool. So here you can see she's some kind of standoff. I think she's very good at striking a pose. She looks really cool. And she does seem somewhat robotic, which I think is neat. Now here she's talking about her past. And also I'm like, really? A fight in a stripper club? I mean, we get it. This is a sexy movie. Come on. All right? So she's handcuffed to the stripper pole, and she's like, oh, look at my amazing stripper dance. I got moves. You didn't, you kind of should have expected, since I fight naked all the time. You would think I would know my way around a stripper pole. So she has this fight, and then we cut to some kind of like religious organization, but you can see they're all plugged in with their necks. That's pretty neat, right? I think that's neat. Now that guy's is he talking to Dormammu? We've got some eye tattoo situation going on here, so that's interesting. Now I believe this is our villain. And as some of you guys pointed out, it's not the Laughing Man anymore, but Coos. Michael Pitt is playing Coos. And that, I don't want to give anything away, because there's a lot of, Coos, to know about Coos is to know the story. And so I don't want to ruin the movie for you. But I will say that I'm a little disappointed, because I feel like it's more of a classic villain, a Western type of villain, and I feel like it's going to create a situation which is exclusive just to the Major instead of Section 9 and a commentary on society overall. All right, so anyway, look, he's on fire. That's pretty cool. And you're going to see why that can be momentarily. So the Major's like, oh, snap. And I like this. I like when this robot opens its face up like that. That's so cool. Although they did that on Westworld, too. I think Westworld draws, obviously, heavy influence from Ghost in the Shell, as we've discussed. And so, again, Westworld did it first for a lot of people, so that's why you gotta get to the mainstream as fast as you can these days. All right, so that's a cool shot. That's that guy she's fighting just firing blindly into the water because she's in camo mode. Now here you can see a little bit of her ability to do action, right? So she's like, oh, I can just jump right up there, no problem. Bloop, in your face, Steve Rogers. Now this is interesting. This reminds me of the 1995 movie because, well, you know, as Juliette Binoche pointed out, she's not invulnerable. So if there's a very high velocity round being used against her, I know my ammunition thanks to movies. She can't withstand it, so she has to have some cover. Now this guy, I'm not quite sure what's going on with him. He looks like a crazy club guy who's laughing in someone's face, but as you can see, he's got Joker grill, cyber teeth. I don't know why somebody would want cyber teeth. That seems like I'm open to it. Let's look through the catalog and see what it does. And you can also see it looks like he's had his eyes augmented as well. That's kind of cool. Now here you can see she's being ambushed, and there's another role for an Asian actor. I wonder how it felt to be on set and be like, wow, I'm stuck with this crappy extra role while all these Western actors are in the leads. What? All right, so anyway, I don't know if this is a dream sequence or not, so that's interesting. Now this is cool. Now here, I believe this is some kind of blocker or inhibitor, which can shut her down as a robot. One of the downsides of being a full cybernetic, you can be paralyzed. So she is a captive audience, right? And I think that she's selling that with also the expression on her face. So that's very cool. As you can see, oh, that was cool. Did you see her flinch a little bit like she's trying to fight it as best she can, but it's not going so well? That's pretty neat. All right, so here, look at this. This is Michael Pitt being very Michael Pitty. I love it, right? I'm a big fan of Michael Pitt. I really liked him in Boardwalk Empire. I was sad that he was fired for being so difficult. So anyway, look at him. He's like, look at me. I'm so kinky robotic. Like you can see he's got like a human head and hair, but the rest of him is like super weird. Now this is like, if you at all are into anime or Japanese storytelling, you know, I'm not a huge anime fan, but even before I watched Ghost in the Shell, I've seen a lot of it, and I've seen it bleed over into comics before. There was an X-Men character for a while that looked like this. So this is like classic anime visuals. This idea of a cybernetic robot melded with a human in this kind of artistic, grotesque, but yet beautiful way. And I'm kind of sad that the face of that in this movie is a Western white guy, right? Like you can't even give them that, you know, the Japanese culture. This is very frustrating to me. But if anyone's going to be a weird robot, in Michael Pitt's defense and the casting director's defense, Michael Pitt would be very good at this. All right. Now, again, I don't want to give this away, but having looked into coups, I get a little bit of a better idea of what's happening here. And it's this Ghost in the Shell. So, I'm very surprised by this, and I guess I shouldn't be, because here's the thing. For the longest time, when I've been looking at the teasers for this, I'm like, man, I can't believe it looks like Rupert Sanders actually did a good job on something. And I should have known. I should have known that anyone who would hire Rupert Sanders, there were problems afoot, right? Like, who hires Rupert Sanders to direct a movie? And if you think that, if you give the stamp of approval to Rupert Sanders to direct this film, and, you know, to his defense, some of the visuals look good, what else are you willing to say okay to, right? What else are you like, okay, you know? And so I'm just disappointed. And again, as I said, I don't understand how someone could take a property and see something as beautiful as Ghost in the Shell and as sophisticated and fascinating and unique, and not want to preserve that and not get excited about it. It's just very sad. But again, you know, Ghost in the Shell's been around for a while. It hasn't had a movie until now, and I guess, you know, the creator just just wanted that check and to move to the next level. So we'll see. I'm not going to totally give up on the movie, but I'm awfully disappointed. So, and also I do question whether or not it's going to do well now. I thought this would be a pretty darn big hit when I first heard about it, when I first started seeing the visuals come out, but now I'm not sure. You might have like a Resident Evil underworld type of movie here. It performs at that level, which again it's not horrible, but it's not what Ghost in the Shell could have been. And I think if they had focused, and that's a good comparison actually. I think if they had focused on the whole team, it would have seemed like a bigger movie. But by just focusing on Scarlett Johansson, how is she any different from Alice or Celine, right? I think it's tough to come up with a reason why she is different. All right, write your thoughts down below. Thank you so much for tuning in and going over this with me, and you can check out some more videos right now.